Guys, welcome back to my channel. In my last video I said I'm going to be doing a video on how to make autogele with needle and thread. So this is how I'm going to go about it. So first of all, we are going to introduce the materials to be used. You need a tape, you need your fabric depending on what you want to use. Some people use chinos, so I'm going to mix it, the chinos and pieces of some of my abada materials I'm no longer using. Since this is a practical class, I decided to use my leftover materials. So when you finish learning, if you want to create your own autogele with needle and thread, so you can first of all, I'll advise you first of all try it with materials that are no longer useful to you. Then you cannot advance to making the proper autogele. So these materials are no longer useful to me, but I decided to use them so that I can show you guys. So yes, this is it. This is the fabric this is a chinos fabric. So first of all, you are going to measure. The width is very important. You are going to measure 20 inches on the width. So 20 inches on the width is the proper measurement for anyone that a proper measurement for to get the base rather on the forehead. So this is 20. This is 20. Now the length of this, like I said, is a leftover material. The length of this is about 20. Sorry, let me be sure. It's about 30. So I got 20 by 30. So that is a very good measurement. Now this is what we are going to use to form the base. So we're going to start with the base and I'm going to show you how to go about it. Like I said, you have your needle and thread. You must use the color of the fabric you are using. You must use the color of the fabric. You must get the color of the thread, of the fabric. So I'm going to show you how to go about getting the first base. You know, autogele has a base, then the pleated step by step. So let's start it, sorry. The first step is to pleat a little bit. Now, if you have your sewing machine, it will be very, very easy. We have your sewing machine. So let us get the first base. So after pleating at the first base, you come back here and you begin to tack it. So this is it. So we are going to sew all through. We're going to sew all through down the pleated part. We're going to sew all through. So this is how it's going to be. So you can turn it to this other side. The needle and thread is very stressful, but it's for those of us that don't have sewing machine. So you can try this at home. You can DIY it. So this is it. I have sewn it all through from the beginning to the end. Yes, this is what it looks like. So the next step is to pleat to get the second base. So you have to pleat like this. So when you pleat, just make sure that the second pleat covers the line. Can you see? You just make sure that the second pleat, this is exactly what I did. I just lifted a bit, and so just make sure that the second base covered the line neatly where you sewed. Just this, to be like this. So I'm going to sew from here down. So this is what it looks like. So see, we begin to sew. So I finished with the second line. You can see how neat it is. So we'll move to the third line, the third pleat. So you lift and cover. when you're doing, just make sure that there are lines showing on each other. You see how neat it is? You won't even know you are using needle and thread. So you continue sewing. So when you are sewing, just make sure that you sew at the base, as a down part, not on top. Because if you sew it on top, by the time you want to cover the thread, it will not be able to cover it properly. But if you sew below at the baseline, you'll be able to cover it when you are lifting up the fourth pleat. So that's the essence of sewing it at the base. So continue from where you stopped, like that. Autogele is a practical class. It's not something that you will just sit and watch. You have to keep doing it, you know. Once again, if this video was helpful or is going to be helpful to you, please do well to subscribe and encourage your girl. So we're in the fourth pleat. You can see how neat it is. So we have to continue like that. So just be careful. Make sure that when you are trying to overlap the next pleat, don't cover everything like this. By the time you cover everything like this, you will not have a pleat to show. So it just has to be below the lines. Like this is very, very okay. So it's something that you have to be taking gradually. Come back. Keep sewing. Same method, same process. So another thing you need to take note of is when you are sewing, just make sure that you are sewing directly on top of the previous pleat. So don't separate the sewing from the previous pleat, like maybe sewing somewhere around here. So if you sew somewhere around here, it will not hold the previous pleat. So when you are sewing it or when you are tacking it, make sure you tack with the previous pleat. So this is what you keep doing. So now we are done with the base. We have 5 neat pleats, depending on your choice. If you still want to increase, you can make it 6 by adding it up, but I think since this is a practical class, I think I'll stop here. So this is how the bag looks like. Now this is the pleat. So we are done with this. So we'll move forward to the next step. So stay tuned. Yeah, back to business. So we are done with our base. So now this is how to achieve the pleat. So one good thing about the pleat is, depending on how high you want the pleat to be, you need to add more materials to it. So like I said earlier, these are just pieces of some of my leftover clothes I used to sew, or fabric I used to sew rather. So I'm just using it to do the practical. So first of all, you have to measure the length and width of what you have. So this is, the width is about, measure the width. This is about 25 inches. So the length, I can decide that my length should be more than this. So the longer the length, the higher the pleat. So I'm making use of what I have. So I have about 32 inches thereabout. So I'm going to show you how to start forming your pleats. If you know how to fold clothes very well, perfectly, then this is not going to be difficult for you. So the same process is repeated. So this is the first step. You just take a few inches of it and bend it this way. The same way you started the base, that's the same way you are going to do this, but it's kind of different. Then you start sewing. Now this is a colored fabric. So colored fabric, you can decide to use any thread that has the same color with the fabric. So I'm using green. So if I had pink, I will still use pink. So I'm just using green. This is a mixed colored fabric. So we are trying to sew. So after sewing, to get the base to be like this, so you start forming the pleat. So this is what you do. Just watch me. So at the initial stage, we're giving a space or giving it gap like this because we're trying to create the pleat. But this one now, there's nothing like that. It keeps overlapping each other. You take another part. There are several methods on how people do autogele, so but this is a method that I think is easier for someone to learn. So we have 3. You lift it up again. Now see, you have to do it very neat. So after doing that, so what you do now, you have to take the needle and thread and pass it through each other to tack it together. So that side, you cut, come back to the middle. So the reason why you are tacking is for it to stay together. That side. So after doing that, the same process was repeated here. Like I said, I had some leftover materials. I'm just using it to do the practicals. So I have 3 here. So I'm thinking so this is how it's going to look like. So this same process is repeated here. I'm going to tack all of them together so that it can be together. So this is a DIY. Anybody can do it for herself at home. The reason is, if you don't tag them together, they are going to fall off. So once you tag, you are sure of maintaining all of them. You arrange it again, place it on top of each other, then you tag. So you have to really tag like 3 places, thereabouts. You come back to this extreme and repeat the same. So now we are done with the pleats. So you keep it aside and you bring the base. So now we are trying to create the extension that we'll use to tie the base. So this is what you're going to do. Just get the pieces and place in front, not by the outside though, like this is wrong. You have to place it like this. Then you sew from the inside. You tack. Remember, I said this is needle and thread though. So you keep sewing. So when you feel it's tight, you just turn it. So when you turn it, you're going to see how neat it is. So that's the tactics behind it. Then you cut and knot. The same process is repeated at the other end. Same process is repeated. Remember, you're taking it inside, not outside. So the same process is repeated. After sewing like this, you now turn it. So when you turn it, you see how neat it is. So you have extension now to tie on the base. So once that is done, keep it like this. Then you place this on top of this. Yeah. So there are some people that does theirs detachable. This is separated from this. By the time you wear this, you wear this. But I'm trying to join them together. So you can decide to leave it like this. You can decide to attach both of them together. So let me say, so when you want to attach both of them together, so you discover that you stopped at this particular place where the needle lines are showing. So when you want to do this, you just have to sew from the last end, the last base here, where the lines are showing, to the last base of this particular one. So this is where you'll be sewing together. You start packing them together. Sorry, nobody's here to assist me with the camera, but I'm trying my best to show you what I'm doing. So once that is done, you can see how it is. They are together, not detachable. So we have to cut out the excesses at this extreme. Sorry, my scissors is not sharp. So now this is the final stage. We have to create an extension the way we did on the base on this other part so that we can be able to go around the hair. So this is how we are going to do it. I took a pieces of the material I already had. I took it round. Remember I said when you are creating an extension, you have to put it inside, not outside. This is the most difficult part of it because sewing this thing with needle and thread is very difficult. So after, now this is what I did. To start packing it from the inside. So after tacking it round, push it aside. So you can see how neat it is. So cut equally. So this remaining part, you can take it to any tailor to run it for you, so it will look neat. Yeah. So this part now, you're done. You can take it to any tailor or any aboki, any obioma to just help you to run it down so it will look neat. So that's how we normally do it. So the same process is repeated here. The same process is repeated here. You take the remaining pieces of the other end. You wrap it up from the inside, not from the outside. Just make sure you just wrap it up. Once that is done, your concentration should be on this area. So this is the area you are wrapping to tack. So your concentration should be on it, and you start sewing. So this is the final step, the final process. So when sewing, it's not possible for the needle to go through because of the thickness of the fabric. So you just have to take it slantly, side by side. Take it side by side. So now this is the outcome of our practical Autogele. So this is what it looks like. So had it been I used the same material like this chinos to finish it up, it would have appeared or looked more beautiful. So like I said earlier, that I just merged pieces of the leftover materials I had just to achieve this design. So when you're trying yours, you have to buy something like this chinos material, then you create the pleat, then everything will practically look uniform. So I hope you learned something. Just try it at home. It's very easy but tactical and beautiful. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned one or two things. You can try it yourself, and I believe I did a great job. Yes, I applaud myself. I did a great job. I love you guys. Stay tuned. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Keep supporting your girl. I love you guys. Bye.